Woo, woo, woo. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I just left the gym. Today's Wednesday. Just left the gym. If you're on my channel, you saw my initial morning workout talk. And I'm headed to work now. Took a nice cold shower. I feel great, man. This is a natural high that I feel right now without the use of any narcotics, not being induced with chemicals at all. These are just natural vibes that I'm feeling right now. Well, there's been a lot going on in the current world, current news, current information. You have the Caitlin Clark situation, you have the Coach Prime stuff going on, and these are just the things that pop up on my Google feed. I guess whatever you search, I guess, not even I guess, I know for a fact that, Google, this is not a secret. Whatever you search or whatever you look up the most, Google has a way of inserting that algorithm inside your smartphone device, and it'll often emit or produce pop-ups that are related or closely linked to what you've already been researching. So it kind of keeps you in the loop. It's a mechanism to keep the person engaged into their smartphone, which is why a lot of people are glued to their smartphone devices, me included. I'm not going to exclude myself from it. I try my best to be conscious of it, and I try my best to stay clear, away from being on my phone too much. I'm aware of it, so I make certain concessions. Like I'll say, you know what, I'm going to just focus on this for now. I'm going to read my book for about an hour. I'm going to go work out. So I try to do things other than sitting with my phone all day. Because if you provide me idle time, which is most people, they're going to have their smartphones. People's smartphones are like an attachment to the body. It's like part of the human body. People walk around with it. It's just attached to their palms. So the Caitlin Clark thing about her not going to the USA game is not a big deal. I mean, it's not a big deal. Her time will come. She's just a rookie. A couple of months ago, she was in the national championship game on the collegiate level. I don't think it's a big deal. I think people are making it a bigger deal than what it's supposed to be. I guess it provides talking points, but people, especially when people are invested in choosing sides, right? If you're pro woman and pro women's sports, then you feel like she's being slighted. But the WNBA is mostly ran by women. It's a women's league. So if the women's league is saying no, that she's not fit to be on the national team, on the USA Olympic team, then it should be okay. It should be okay. I agree with Shanae, the ESPN, the female ESPN analyst. I know a lot of people are coming with the angle of marketing. They're using that as a means to insert their argument, to validate their argument. They're saying that, hey, she's a cash cow for the NBA. A lot of eyes are now coming to the NBA because of this one athlete, Caitlin Clark. And because she's, got a lot of eyes on the game, let's use her for a marketing ploy and put her on the team so more people will look. It doesn't matter what you do with Caitlin Clark. Whether she's on the team or not, there's still going to be attention that's put upon the game. The fact that she's not even on the team still garners attention. Think about it. Anything she does moves the meter. If she sneezes, the whole world erupts. If she gets fouled hard, the entire sports media, the sports world goes crazy. Anything that's attached to Caitlin Clark brings in a degree of attention that's more than the average attention that the WNBA has received in past times. So I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think that it's jealousy. Some people are saying they're not jealous. WNBA, they understand that she's good for the game. And if you talk to Caitlin Clark, of course she would love to be on the team, but I don't think she has any hard feelings over it. She's not like distraught, like, oh my God, I didn't make the team. No, she's not. She's fine. I think that Caitlin Clark could fight her own battle. She'll be fine. And I think this rookie season that she's going through, she's had her she's had her fair share of ups and downs and bumps and bruises. But I think all these encounters are par for the course. I think that she needs to go through these things to materialize into the legendary athlete that I think that she's going to become. If you look at the trajectory of Michael Jordan when he played in the NBA, his younger years were hard, though his statistics were out of the roof, but he got banged up a lot. The Detroit Pistons beat him up. His first 6-7 seasons, he didn't make it to the finals. He couldn't even get through the first round of the playoffs. So there's always struggle before greatness, and that's what makes greatness all the more something to cherish, because the journey to greatness is something to embrace. Just to have greatness come to you sort of dilutes the essence of what greatness is. The reason why we value greatness because we value the journey. We value the obstacles that a person had to go through to get to their goal or to their destination. So she'll be fine. She'll be fine. And what else? Oh, Coach Prime news. There's some articles that I also need to read about Coach Prime. I need to get caught up on that. I do have some notes written down on my phone about what I want to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about that right now because I want to be I want to do my due diligence of gaining the information that I need to gain first before I upload a video about it. Because you guys hold my feet to the fire in the sense that many of you guys call me out on my comments. Hey man, you don't know this. Hey, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Oh man, why did you say this or why did you say that? So I try to make sure, I try to get better. And that's what we all as a collective have to do better of, is taking information and taking critique with a grain of salt, because critique is the way we improve. As a collective, we're one body. Different individuals living out different experiences through different states of consciousness. Nevertheless, we're one body. So when a part of your body is criticizing you, it's in your best interest to consider the critique and try to improve. Don't take everything so personal. So that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. So I'm stuck in this traffic. This is what Houston traffic is all about. What do you guys think about the next the Colorado football season? Do you think they're going to be above 500? Do you think they're going to break even and be 500? Like, do you think they're going to be a 6-16? Do you think they're going to be above 500? Do you see them get into a bowl game? In my opinion, I believe that them getting to a bowl game is a huge success. Going from 1-11, winning 4 games the next season going to a bowl game, that's progression. And to me, you would have to applaud Coach Prime for that progression if that ends up being the case. Or that's the results of next year. If they end up going to a bowl game, that'd be huge for Colorado. I'm just eager to see how their football team is going to look on the football field. And just because I have my assumptions, and if my assumptions don't happen to be on the positive side, it doesn't mean that I'm wishing for them not to do well. I personally don't feel like they will make a bowl game. I personally don't feel like they're going to be that much better than last year's team. That's just what I feel, and I have my reasons. I've given reasons many times before on past videos. I just think that there's too much change in terms of the coaching personnel. There's too much change with players. So again, it's like Coach Prime is going into his first year again. So I can expect the same turnout as last season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win 4 games again next year, or they win 5. If they, I wouldn't be shocked. Like I'm not gonna come here and be like, oh my God, I can't believe they only won 4 games. I can see that happening. That's very plausible. So I don't know. That's just the way I feel. That's just the way I feel. I could be wrong. I would love for them to go undefeated. And in theory, in my imagination, I would love for him to go undefeated. But do you know how much bragging and how much, poking out of the chest would occur from Colorado, Coach Prime, Shedeur, and that whole program? I mean, look at what happened last year when they started off 3-0. It was crazy, right? Do you believe? You believe now? You haters? It was. I felt like every time that Coach Prime came up on the, during the press conference, whether it's post game or pre game, I felt like I was listening to a rap album because he was very, very animated, very excited about his team having a very good start. But we also got to see how, the season went downward as they lost, I believe, 7 of their last 8 games, and it just didn't end well. So can you imagine they went like 12-0 or 11-0 or 11-1? Ooh. So a lot of the times humility usually is the precursor to success. And if you lack humility, then you oftentimes will face humbling moments that puts you in that balance where you're not overly pompous or overly proud or overly arrogant. And I think that Coach Prime and company, they teeter on that line. It's a fine line, right? It's one thing to be confident and poke your chest out, but it's one thing to overdo it. So there's a balance. And smart people know how to balance that. They know how to balance that. And now let me talk about the NBA Finals for a second. I predicted the Mavericks would win the finals. I really did, because I felt as if they had 2 players that can get their buckets whenever they wanted to. And I felt that and it's not aging well, of course, but I'm going to be honest and be transparent. I'm not going to be prisoner of the moment here and try to switch sides and go on Boston's side because Boston's up 2-0. I'm not going to do that. I picked Dallas, so I'm going to stick with that, all right? Even though they're down 2-0. And the reason why I thought Dallas would win the series is because, again, as I said earlier, I felt as if Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, both players can get their own shots whenever they want. And whenever it's crunch time, they know exactly who their number 1 and number 2 are. Like, there's no confusion. And I felt that Boston had too many inconsistencies during the season. And I know regular season and playoffs and finals are they're levels, right? Regular season is regular season. Playoffs, it goes up a notch, and the finals is a whole nother level. But I felt like those demons that Boston would actually encounter during the season would come back to haunt them. When I say demons, I'm talking about the games where they would lose games they're supposed to win. They would blow big leads. They were too focused on 3. The 3-point shooting, to me, I thought would be a detriment to their team, because a lot of the times, most teams that shoot a lot of threes, you live and die by that. And the longer you play, the deeper you go into the playoffs, especially when you get to the finals, you get legs that are more weaker, shots fall shorter. And if your whole offense is predicated on 3-point shooting, that's a very hard metric or standard to be successful by. Why? Because it's a lower percentage shot. Yes, you get 3 points if you score, but if you don't score, it clanks off the rim. It gives the defense an opportunity to get long rebounds and run on you. So I factored those things in. Then I also factored in Tatum not being a guy that's consistent. He's so inefficient because of just from experience, just the things he's done in the playoffs, the things he showed me. Yeah, his numbers are not bad, but his efficiency is bad. So I thought that the number 1 player for Boston is nowhere as close as the number 1 player for Dallas, Luka Doncic. Then I also factored in, well, let's say if Jaylen Brown was their number 1 player. Jaylen Brown, to me, I favor Jaylen Brown being their best player over Tatum. You say, why? And I know he's dark-skinned. I know they're trying to have this light-skinned marketing thing. I know Jason Tatum's game looks a little bit more fluid because of his handle. He's taller. He has the look, the nice hair, the light skin. So he's more marketable, right? Whereas Jaylen Brown is a dark brother. He's a dark melanated guy, braids, a big beard. His game isn't as fluid, but it's very aggressive. He reminds me of a Dwayne Wade. And his efficiency, to me, is better than Jason Tatum's. There are many games where he's taken over in the last seconds. And where Jason Tatum has gotten better is his passing and being more well-rounded. He's not he's not the kind of guy that maybe in his younger years he would be frustrated if his shots weren't going in. But currently, I've seen him when if his shots aren't going in and he's not playing very well, he still plays defense. He'll still rebound, and he still gets other players involved by penetration and kicking out and finding the open man. So his passing has improved, and his overall game has improved. But his offensive game in terms of shot percentages and making shots has really suffered in the playoffs. So his inefficiency was a concern for me, and I also factored in Boston having too many guys that are good. Now you may say that's dumb. If they have too many guys that's good, why would you pick against them? Well, that's the problem, because the fact that any guy can beat you any given night, I thought that the defense of Dallas, because the defense of Dallas has improved. We have to admit that. You saw what they did to Minnesota. You saw what they did to OKC. You saw what they did to the Clippers. So to me, I was like, well, if Dallas's defense, clamps down on Boston, number one, will revert back to what they know. It's like muscle memory. They're going to go back to chunking up threes. And then when it gets down to crunch time, if 6 players on the team are in double figures and there's not like one player that dominated, who's their go-to in crunch time? Does Coach Mazzulla just run a play that's been successful throughout the game? What does he do? So to me, I thought that there would be more confusion with Boston because they have too many. But then I also thought that with Dallas, because they don't have as many great players or good players as Boston does, I felt like when it's crunch time, they know exactly who to go to. Luka. When they need a bucket, they know they're going to go to Kyrie. And if Luka is locked down, Kyrie can take it over. So I felt like Dallas had more of their identity intact. And I felt like Boston was still trying to find themselves in terms of playoff basketball and finals basketball. What I didn't factor in is Kristaps Porzingis. The time when I was making my prediction, I didn't think that this guy was going to come in and start dominating. And I'm not even talking about his shot making. Forget his offense. The way that Kristaps Porzingis has dominated the defensive side of the ball for Boston is amazing. He doesn't have to block every shot. The fact that his presence is being felt on the basketball court is enough for me. If he contends shots, he causes people to miss. Dallas is thinking twice about driving into the lane. Every shot that Dallas makes is difficult, whereas it seems like every shot that Boston makes looks easy. So that was my take then. Now, if you ask me now who I think is going to win, I'm shifting my head or shifting my brain to say that I believe Boston is going to win the finals, but I'm still picking Dallas because anything can happen. I know I need to read up and get caught up on Luka Doncic's injury because he doesn't seem to be 100%. And I know at this time of the year no one's completely 100%, but he's far from 100%. Like, he's not even close. It seems like something with his ribs, his torso, upper body. I don't know what it is. Seems to be limping, like he's in pain, and he's still giving you a triple-double. What Dallas needs is for Kyrie to play a little better. And these games haven't been blown. Like the first game, okay, you can chalk it up and say that was a blowout. But there were times where Dallas was making a run. And I think that when they go home, when Dallas goes home, they're going to play much better. The role players are going to play much better. This series is going to go 7. It has to go 7. Dallas is too damn good to get beat in 4. To get swept, number 1, they're not going to get swept, number 1. Number 2, they're not going to lose in 5. They're not going to lose in 6. If Dallas does lose a series, it's going to go to 7. But I believe Dallas is going to win the series. I believe they are. And if they do win, I'm going to look like a genius. And if they don't win, I'm going to look stupid. But hey, that's my prediction. I just gave you guys the reason why I thought that they would win. And even though they're down 2-0, I still feel like they have the team to do it. Boston's just too damn good, man. I mean, where do I begin? Tatum, Jaylen Brown, White, you have Holiday, you have Horford, you have Porzingis, you have guys that come off the bench that chunk up threes. What's that short guy? I forgot his name. And that other tall white guy that his releases, he catches the ball and just lets it go. I mean, they are loaded, and they all play defense. So we'll see. This would be remarkable if Luka can win this championship. This will definitely start to lay down the foundations of solidifying his legacy. And if Tatum loses the finals, to me, I think that Tatum has more to gain and more to lose. Luka is fairly still young. I mean, they're both young, but this is Luka Doncic's first time getting to the NBA Finals. So in a sense, you can chalk up the season. If they lose the finals, you can still say, relatively speaking, that Dallas had a successful season, and you can say Luka had a successful season. He was runner-up for MVP, got to the finals, lost to a better team in Boston. But if he beats Boston, I don't even think his stock could go up any higher than it is. But for Tatum, he needs this. Because if he loses this, it'll be, oh, yet another loss. How can he be the face of your franchise and he can't do this and he can't do that? So we have to see it through that lens. But we'll see how it goes. I think Game 3 is today. I believe it is. Yeah, today is Game 3. I'll be watching that. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. And stay tuned for my next video. Take care.